This is the local artistry show. I'm here with D3adrum. Do you want to give a little summary of what you do?
I am a drummer, kind of produce music on the side, into doing all kinds of anything involving music basically. I'm down to do just about anything. I specialize in drumming and stuff like that, I guess, but I'm pretty much all around music oriented.
So you started playing drums at around 12 or 13. What was it that got you interested in drums? Like, why the drums? Or if there even is a reason?
Yeah, I mean, it started out like being, like, I've always pictured myself playing guitar or doing something else other than that, pretty much anything other than drums. And eventually I think I saw somebody that was playing either at like a concert or in person. I was just like, that's what's good for me, because I can't keep up with all this guitar playing, keyboard playing. There's too much stuff that my 12-year-old brain couldn't wrap itself around. So I feel like drums were just like the one thing I gravitated towards more than anything. And then I saw how much they were, and I was like, I might not be able to do this, but I still, no matter what, just always made that my first choice of what I would do. So I guess it was like a first pick before anything.
Now you say you're not tied down to any genre, but is there a certain genre that you particularly enjoy drumming to?
It's hard because I like listening to rap. I'm listening to something, that's what I'll put on. But drumming wise, like, it's not like you can only do so much in there, but there's just things that I was more interested in playing and incorporating with like metal and jazz even starting out, even though it was way over my head when I was a kid playing that kind of like technical stuff. Even when I first started out, I was just like really trying to learn stuff that was above my boundaries for what I felt comfortable playing. But I think that helped like push me a little bit to do stuff. I'll play to just about anything. I like playing to just about anything. I'll take any kind of like gig or band that's interested in any kind of genre basically, but they all kind of mesh together after a while, especially when you can like incorporate them into one. I just feel most comfortable playing that way.
I did want to know about other drumming opportunities you've had and where you've applied it.
It's been a while since I've like just strictly drummed in like a lot of at least shows or concerts or stuff like that. It would seem like as soon as I started, I got an opportunity to play in a band, and I didn't realize at the time where my skill level was at. I think it was probably when I was like 13, 14 when it first, like, you know, people that you go to school with have a band and you kind of get with them. It started out like that, and we would get little local shows here and there, and it was kind of just like, it seemed like a huge deal at the time, probably to all of us, because we were all like young and super aspirational about music. And not that I'm still not, it's just when you're young, it definitely is a little different when you're thinking about, am I going to be able to take it this far, or where is it going to go for me? How hard do I have to work at this? And it started out not playing a ton, but enough locally that I think like enough people knew to, maybe not who I was, but like I was a young guy in a band that people seemed to like familiarize with a little bit. Obviously that stuff all breaks up and goes wherever, and people start different bands, and it just seemed like as soon as one opportunity or band thing ended, another thing would just magically pop up or appear in front of me from someone I knew, something I saw. It always felt like I was rotating in and out of stuff that would just, any music opportunity I would take basically. So if I started out with a band, I tried out for them, and let's say it didn't work out or the band didn't work out, a guy from that band would say, I have this other project, and that would turn to that. So we ended up playing a lot of local stuff, like a couple things out of state, and just doing things around here for the most part, especially when I was in my teens, like early 20s and stuff. And that was just drumming, but as far as playing like MPC, music producing, the beat making stuff, I've kept that mostly local too, obviously, but people used to, I think, like to see that at cyphers and stuff around here where you would have a bunch of rappers and get together and have somebody producing in the background. So maybe I'm just out of touch at this point, but I used to feel like there was a lot more like opportunities around here where you would have a show to play every other week and have stuff to do. But lately it's just, I've been hanging out here, BTBSN. Shout out to them because they have had a lot of cool events lately, and I've been filling my time up with that and loving doing it. And I think what they're doing is great, and it's just another opportunity to at least put your music in front of people. So I'll do that any chance I can get.
Do you remember what your first show was or event?
I know that the first ever really was this thing at Mr. Small's, and you could get your band booked there on a local show with other local bands, obviously, or whoever you hit up, but the caveat was you had to sell tickets, and they would have a limit, obviously, like you have to make it worth their time. They're not just gonna like lose money on your little local show or whatever, so you have to sell X amount of tickets or whatever. And since it was our first show ever, and a lot of people we went to school with or were friends with, music-wise, like it felt like a big deal, so it wasn't that hard to sell tickets. I sold some to friends, obviously, but a lot to family, and they come to your first show or whatever show, obviously. Probably like 80% of the tickets I sold myself were family members and people that were with them, so it was cool having everybody there. But I know for a fact, at least our set, all the stuff we prepared for, drumming, guitar, vocals, everything, I distinctly remember that it didn't go like good. Obviously, we chalked it up to it being your first show. The audio was pretty off. All kinds of issues other than playing the music. And then when it comes to actually going through the songs, you're just like not prepared until you actually sit down and do it. So found that out the hard way, I guess. But it was still fun. It was really fun.
What do you mean you weren't prepared when you actually sit down and do it?
Like I know we'd have normally not preparing for a show or whatever. We're just in the process of writing music or whatever you do when you're not preparing for a show. We would meet, I think, like once a week, maybe a little more than that. Leading up to the show, though, we would get together almost like every day after school and make it a point to get together and not just like writing new music, but we're strictly focusing on we're playing this set, we're just going to go through it over and over again. And I'm pretty sure we probably did that like a ton of times. And we're just sitting in a basement at whoever's parents' house, the guitarist guy, I think it was. The only people that could hear us was his parents, and that was it. But then you go from that, kind of nailing it, whatever. I'm sure there's a little kink here and there, but you go from that to sitting in front of, even though they're people you know, obviously some of them aren't, people at the venue, people that work there. It's just like, I don't know, I thought I was awesome and couldn't fail at this. I practiced so much at this and that, but it was just a whole different experience. I'm an anxious person, but I was off the Richter when I was in high school, so I kind of shut down and tried to only focus on the drumming, but at the same time, it's just, we didn't have that cohesion that you need as a band at all, at least when it comes to playing like a concert. I think that we got there, but that first show, I think, was pretty rough. And everybody tells you how good you did and all that, even though you know in your head, like, they're either gassing me up or maybe they just genuinely did think we sound good, but you yourself in like the drummer's seat, the guitarist, the vocalist, you know what you did wrong and you feel kind of weird afterwards. And then you got to hang out with all the bands and be like, yeah, we know what we did. It was kind of awkward, but it got better.
When did it get better?
I wouldn't say the second show. I'm pretty sure the second thing we did was also Mr. Small. Like, we did the same stuff over and over again, probably for I don't know how many times, and I don't know if it was the second, third, but eventually it just kind of clicked. And again, I'm not saying that we are like a professional, awesome, touring national band or anything levels of performing, but I think that like for our age, skill level, everything, like we were pretty dope. I think that we got to a point where people weren't just gassing you up and saying like, you did great, even though in their head or behind your back to their friends they're saying like, yeah, he was pretty bad. Like, I feel like people actually meant it without it just being in my head. Like, we are hearing feedback that sounds good and genuine. So it was like 3-4 shows in, I would say, but you just get used to it. And then it kind of feels like it resets after you get with a at least for me, maybe not everybody, but it resets when you get with a different band. And even though you're a little bit better, you still have to mesh with this group of people now. So first shows for a lot of bands that I've been in, again, personally for me, been rough. So yeah, eventually you guys just kind of click up.
How did you get into production and beat making?
I was laid up. I got some knee surgery on my like kneecap cartilage stuff. I couldn't drum obviously, and even though it wasn't like my pedal foot or anything, like with the kick drum, it still debilitated me to the point where I had to keep my legs straight. I had to basically stay in bed other than crutches. I was in a wheelchair at one point, and I was just so depressed. This was like I was only like 16 maybe when this happened, I'm pretty sure. I ended up getting a ton of surgeries. This lasted like over a couple years, and I just like kind of accepted that I use drumming to give myself some dopamine hits and it made me happy doing it, and not having it just like made me feel the opposite. So I just wanted to do any kind of music making that didn't involve me being super active or moving every limb of your body when the option isn't there to do that. So I picked up the MPC. Obviously my hands were fine. I wasn't laid up because of my hands, so I just started doing the finger drumming thing. That started off with little like iPod Touch apps, how you could get the drum kit on the screen, and I loved doing that. So I was like, what is like this that involves music that I could actually see myself liking? And found D3adrum Music, the Dipset guy, and he was doing the exact same thing, obviously at like a whole nother level from me. Starting out, even now, I saw what they were doing, and they were obviously made it, but they were making it, and it just really inspired me to do something with my time other than chill at home and play video games and just not be able to do much with this whole surgery thing. So even after I recovered and all that, I didn't want to give it up. I could officially drum, and at that point I'm pretty sure like I traded drumming for producing. So I just did that full time. I just like fell in love with it completely. So it was easy.
So you say you think you know what you're good at and not good at. What things have you found that you're not good at?
I've put some time into like keyboard playing. I don't think I'm like terrible at it, but I certainly wouldn't call myself good at it. I know a little bit of music theory. I know this like essential stuff that you need to know at least to like, you know, produce beats and stuff at a certain level and not be like fully amateur. Obviously I'm still a little down there, but keyboard playing is not my forte. I've given it shots learning and all that. I don't specialize in it though. Vocals and guitar are two huge no's for me. Whether it comes to just spoken voice or singing, vocals is not happening. I just don't think I have the voice range, whatever, for it. Like, I'm sure you can hear me even just talking, and you can tell with some people, like, that's not what they do, and that's in my case. Guitar, like, that was another thing I picked up when I was laid up after the surgery, and I think I had an acoustic guitar. And I would sit there and just like for hours just kind of strum at it, and I tried to learn it. I did basically the same stuff I did learning the drums, but that's another thing that just didn't click with me. I focused tunnel vision wise, like I'm good at drums, I think I'm good at producing. I like doing design stuff. I enjoy making videos, editing them, all the stuff that comes with that, but I can fully admit, at least, like I can be honest with myself that I'm not a guitarist. I'm not a keyboard player. No matter how many keys I put into my beats, I'm not a keyboard player. I'm not a vocalist. Like, so I stick to the things that I know or that I think I have some kind of skill in this late in the game.
When have you tried vocals?
I think like the first time I really tried singing, like, and actually like watching videos about it, trying to justify to myself, well, maybe you just haven't learned enough. Maybe you gotta watch some tutorials. Maybe you gotta try and match these songs, you know. It was during I feel like I did a lot of stuff when I was laid up from these surgeries, but it was during that time they had me a little out of my mind from a mixture between what the doctors were giving me, but also just the mental of being laid up. You couldn't go out. I couldn't graduate with the rest of my class. I couldn't go out skateboarding like I like skating. I couldn't do like anything I enjoyed doing. So I would just be in my room, chilling, blasting music with an acoustic guitar, probably playing just horribly, Thankfully it wasn't electric, so my neighbors didn't hear, but I'm sure they heard me singing. And again, this was when I was like 15, 16, I want to say. And I just gave singing like a shot because I thought like maybe you can do it. I just had a lot of trouble adapting any part of my voice to like correlating it, translating it to singing. I just realized it wasn't for me. No matter what I tried, and it wasn't all in just one day. I was like, damn, all these things are not for me. Over a while, I was just like, yeah, this is for me, this isn't, and I can be conscious of that without getting myself down about what I'm not good at.
So where are you at now with drumming in terms of skills and opportunities?
I don't really know where to put skills at. I mean, I usually just tell people I've been playing long enough to be a little over half of my life. I got like over a decade of doing it, maybe not solid. Like I said, I took a break there when I just couldn't drum and did a little bit of the producing thing on the side and got involved in that, but no matter what I did, it always involved drumming. So I usually just give people the numbers, you know, been in a couple bands, played a couple shows, done it for a couple years. I feel confident that whatever you can give me, I feel pretty good about being able to play it or putting my own twist on it, or if I can't play it, then translating it to whatever I'm good at. So I feel like I'm at the point where I can absorb whatever music-wise and like translate it to drums. I would say opportunity-wise lately, obviously there's the thing that me, Esquire, and Aaliyah are doing. I'm not even sure if we have a name for our band that we jam with almost every week, but that's a big opportunity in my opinion. I drum for, I guess you could say, putting drums together for this metal band kind of project that's really just formulated over Discord with people that I do know in person, but that's how we all like get in a group chat. So that's in really early stages, even though vocals and guitar and bass and that I feel like is mostly written by them. I'm in a band with my friend Justin. He's on guitars and vocals, and I'm pretty sure that he found people to play bass and the other guitarists, but I'm not even sure what to like compare it to, but like a Taking Back Sunday-esque pop punk kind of band that we kind of ran out of his tattoo shop. That stuff is pretty developed, I'd say, more than anything else I'm doing right now as far as what we have down, original song-wise and written and recorded. He's great at vocals, in my opinion. He's a good guitar player, and he's really good at engineering and recording and all that. So we have a lot done there. It's hard to like juggle all that stuff and do this all at once sometimes, but everything has its like own special place for me that I can categorize each of those three things and also lump onto that what I really want to do more than anything, like my own drumming, solo stuff, drumming to other songs and just like making videos on it. It's not my favorite thing to do, obviously, but it's just what I'm most focused on, at the risk of sounding selfish. I think that that's probably what I work towards the hardest, whereas this other stuff is just, I'm getting to it in my free time, listening to it at work, working on it when I can. Yeah, I'm really trying to take my just posting videos and doing my own solo drumming like to a different level if I can. But I'm focused on everything right now. Hopefully more shows and, again, like you said, opportunities open up and stuff gets booked, but I'm kind of just sticking around to see what happens. I feel good about it though, all of it.
Is there anything you want to put out there before we wrap it up? Any upcoming events, just things like that?
I would say look out for, I'll be posting on my profile, obviously like my own drum videos and stuff on Instagram and YouTube too, as well as Dead Drum with a 3, so it's D3adrum on both of those platforms. Look out for, if we get this album, EP thing done with my friend Justin, I'll obviously be posting that. I think that'll turn out really good, and that'll hit Spotify or Apple Music or whatever. So I'll keep it updated on that. Black Tea Brown Sugar is awesome, and I think that I want to post whatever I can coming from that avenue of stuff, and I don't know, just down for any kind of collaboration. Anybody needs a drummer that wants to play shows, have a backing guy. I just think that I could really fit the mold for, at this point, where I'm at, like anything that people want to have me do. So shout out to all of them.